Jonathon Brooks. All righty. And this one, I'm telling you, this is the guy that I almost didn't put here at number one. I almost put Jalen Wright at number one. And the main reason why is because of what we're about to talk about here.
I was going to say.
There's a big injury risk here. He tore his ACL in November. And this guy was on pace to be probably a first round running back selection. That's how good his last season was. And again, he comes from Texas. You know, Texas has got a little bit of a history, especially recently with guys like Bijan Robinson last year coming out. You know, he was the third running back last year, keep in mind. And then all of a sudden this year, took over and just beast mode. But he's a good all-around back. And I got to say, watching his tape, I had to like nitpick to find issues I didn't like in his play, in his way he played. And if it wasn't for this injury, he'd be the automatic number one for me. And again, he'd be a guy that I think is going to be coming out in the first round. I think a lot of things now we have to, again, depend on the medical. And like I tell you guys, every time we do one of these, we go under the assumption there's no medical flags, everything is good, and everything is healing correctly. If it is, it happened in November, you could see him start the season potentially. You can see him miss a couple of games potentially at that point. But you can also sit there and say that no matter what he does this year, it probably won't be as good as he will be next year.
Correct. I was going to say, I mean, we've talked about this on the show quite a few times, but guys coming back after ACL surgery, 98% of the time, 98.5% of the times, they take a step back. They take a step slower. It takes a while to rebuild, especially 8-10 months for full recovery.
Yeah, Brad, I mean, again, unless they're freaks of nature, which you just don't know. That's what we don't have. We don't know what kind of healing abilities, Jonathon Brooks has. Some guys are like freaking Wolverine. Look at like AP when he did it. He was like back the next year in 2,000 yards.
Yeah, I was about to say he was back to where he was, but he's also, Jonathan's turned 21 in July, so he's young,
really young. Yeah.
So a lot of guys that age heal a lot faster compared to someone if Derrick Henry tears his ACL. It's going to take him the full year to come back.
Yeah. So again, you have to look at the medicals. You have to have your medical staff check him out at that point and see what you think. And that's definitely part of this equation here. Size wise, 6 foot, even 215 pounds. So not horrible size there by any means. Last year, 11 games, 187 rushes for 1,139 yards. That's a 6.1 yard per carry average, 10 touchdowns, 25 receptions for 285 yards and 1 touchdown, a 91.5 PFF grade, guys.
Oh, that's it? Huh.
That's, again, we're talking SEC guys, these last two guys. SEC, like they're doing the best of the best at that point they're going against.
The best.
Yeah, like these are the better defenses that are facing week in, week out in this league. On the 22, I forgot to go over here. 7 games, 30 rushes. As I said, he was just the third string running back last year in 22. So 30 rushes, 197 yards, a 6.6 yard per carry average, 5 touchdowns, 2 receptions, 37 yards, and a touchdown. On the pro wise, size, good play speed as well. He's got that ability, like some guys have it where it's like they have 0 and they have 60, and that's all they have. This guy has 0 through 60. Like he can adjust and play down to what speed he needs to based on how long the hole's taking to go, how long it's taking for a blocker to go ahead and get to somebody at that point. He's really got that kind of ability. He's got great vision. He's extremely patient. This is a very high football IQ, guys. As far as the cons, though, he's not very good in pass protection. Now, he's got the size to do it. Again, he hasn't really played before this year, and I think that's a lot of what it is. A lot of these guys, when they come to the NFL, they have 1 or 2 years starting, and that's it, and they need to learn that in the NFL because that takes time and that takes repetition to learn at that kind of quality. So I do think that's going to go ahead and get fixed with time with him there, but for right now, it goes in the cons. He also isn't the greatest as far as power moves at that point there. If that hole is clogged at that point, he needs it there. If he goes to the team that has the right offensive line that can actually open up holes for him, he's going to have a beast season once ever he's back to full healthy, whether it's this year or next. If he goes to a team that doesn't have the best offensive line, he's going to have to get a little better at kind of helping create those holes at that point by bum rushing the hole there at that point. But let's be honest, he played at Texas. He had some good offensive line. He had good running schemes. This is a team that always have good running backs. So he didn't need to showcase that kind of ability there at Texas. So again, he might have it. We just haven't seen it.
Yep,
so
correct.
Like I said, and this is all nitpicking. Like I said, you watch this guy. It's like perfect, hit the hole at the right time, take the cut at the right time. There's just something fun about watching Jonathon Brooks at that point. And I'm really, really hoping that he comes back to full strength this season. I'm hoping he comes back to being the guy that we all think he was prior to this injury at that point. Because he's going to be fun to watch in the NFL, assuming he doesn't go to one of our rivals.
Yeah, as long as he's not in Dallas somewhere, like somewhere over there.
Oh my God, can you imagine? That's a Dallas move at that point. Take the top running back when you need a running back who went to Texas.
It 100% would be.
Oh my God.
Hey, I would love to have this guy on my fantasy team. So here's to you going to Vegas.
They did lose Josh Jacobs. They might be interested. You never know. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I have him second, third round is where I think he's going to go still, just because of the injury. And again, I'm putting assuming everything's correct on his medical, he'll go second round, no problem. If there's any flags, he's going to drop to the third round, probably.
It's going to be a hooker situation.
Yeah. It's got to be. And it sounds bad that we just worded that.
As soon as I said it, I went, yeah.
It's going to be a hooker kind of
situation.
Connor. Tell us more about this hooker situation. No, but I mean, that's where it boils down to. But the difference with him and a guy like Hooker at that point is Hooker was a quarterback. So you only have one quarterback usually that plays per season at that point, assuming no injuries. Whereas a running back, you could put him in starting in a rotational thing, and maybe next year feature him as a running back at that point if you decide to go that route. The other thing is that Hooker was also coming out, I think it was 24 when he came out of college?
Yeah, I think so.
Whereas Brooks is 20.
I mean,
no, I'm just saying that's some of the differences we're looking at between the two scenarios.
Yeah, I agree with you. You made an excellent point too. It's like he could go somewhere to sit behind running back that's under fifth year option that it's going to have to get paid where they don't want to pay him. And you got a guy that you don't have to rely on this year, but next year you got the replacement.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking right now to see. I'm curious now who is set to be a free agent next year in 2025. Nick Chubb. Well, I can see the Browns taking him. Hell's yeah, the Browns taking him with that offensive line. Are you kidding me? Nick Chubb. You don't know what he's coming back. What he's coming back from at that point either. So you have two guys. You just hope one of the two is healthy. James Conner. James Conner is almost 30 at that point over Arizona. The Vikings with Aaron Jones, they tied him to a 1-year deal. The Vikings could be an interesting option. They do have
Arizona's got the third pick and then 15
second round. They're going to go.
Yeah, but they're
going to go in the second round
all the way back.
He's not going to be the first round.
Oh no, I'm not saying he's going to be. I'm not saying he's going to be first round. I'm just saying. You think he's going to be available at the very tail end of the second round?
I don't know. Like I said, a lot of it depends on his medical, and that's the problem. We don't know. I joked around before about Miami, but even Miami actually is not the worst move possible because Raheem Mostert is going to be a free agent after this season, and he's going to be 33.
Yeah,
he's getting up there. So, yeah, there's a lot of places I could see him go and go, that's not the craziest theory in the world there.
Yeah, Mostert didn't play like a 33-year-old last year.
No, he he's defying the laws of football physics at that point with his age and his abilities at that point there.
Yeah.
But listen, in the end, Father
Doesn't
Time
really
always
matter.
wins. There's like I said, there's a couple
fair.
places I can see him go, Brooks there at that point. But like I said, I think he's the guy that I tell you, if he was healthy, he'd be the one guy I would say in this draft is going to be a Pro Bowl caliber like running back at that point there. I really like him that much. Because of the injuries, I'm going to say I don't know what's going to happen with him.
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.